Hello, good afternoon, students. My name is Mr. Prince, and welcome to your study path Jamb session. Now, in today's class, I would review to you all the aspects you should be expecting in the Jamb exam. Now, let's consider one of the most important topics that you would encounter during this particular exam. So let me review the syllabus in which the whole 60 questions would comprise. Now let's look at this. The first aspect is known as the reading comprehension. This is a compulsory aspect, the reading comprehension. Now, what is it about the reading comprehension in the UTME? For the reading comprehension, you would have between 4 to 5 passages. Let me illustrate that to you on the board. Now you would have reading passage 1, all right, which consists of 5 questions compulsorily. Question number 1, question number 2, question number 3, question number 4, and question number 5. This is very, very compulsory. And the same goes with reading passage 2. You would have a total of 5 questions. Then, in reading passage 3, you will equally have a total of 5 questions. And reading passage 4, you have a total of 5 questions too, inclusive, just exactly how it is displayed here. Now, this is an expectation from the UTME. And you as a student, you need to prepare yourself adequately concerning reading comprehension. Now, under reading comprehension, they are usually short passages in which you would have to read and understand the passage very well, and you have some questions to answer, which is a total of 5 questions. Now, these passages are usually, all right, extractions from a bigger passage. They are usually extractions from a bigger passage. Under this reading comprehension, which is usually the first thing, there are certain kind of questions you would be asked, which I'm going to teach extensively during this class. The second aspect is number 2. You would have Lexis and structure. Lexis and structure. Now, under Lexis and structure, now there are topics that you need to prepare adequately. Examples of those topics are synonyms. Okay? Then under which you would have antonyms. Also, you would have interpretation. I'm going to take each of those topics to explain to you extensively when it gets to time. The last part under best complete, under Lexis and structure, is best complete each of the following. Best complete each of the following. Now let's proceed to the third aspect. The third aspect, which will basically be about the English novel. The English novel. Now, there is a recommended novel by Jamb for students to read. And there'll be some questions under that particular novel. Now, you need to get this novel during the point of registration, and it is necessary for you to read the novel. This particular novel, okay, was written by Khadija Abubakar Jali, and it's necessary for you to get it. You should expect between 5 to 10 questions under this particular novel. Once you're done with that, then we'll proceed to the fourth aspect, which is the oral. That's the English oral. The English oral. Now, looking at the English oral, you would have a question under vowel sound, vowel sounds, and you need to study all the 20 vowel sounds. By 20, I mean the monophthong and the diphthongs. There are 12 monophthongs and there are 8 diphthongs. You would have to study this adequately. Now, the triphthongs are very much unnecessary in this aspect, which means that Jamb will never ask you a question relating to the triphthongs. So that's why I asked you to study only the monophthongs and the diphthongs concerning vowel sounds. The next aspect is the consonant sound. Okay? Now, how many consonant sounds do we have in the English sound system? There are 24 of them. So you need to study and know how to pronounce or articulate this sound and possible words that project these sounds. The next aspect is the stress placement. The stress placements. How do you place words? How do you place stress on words? How do you place stress on words? For example, there are several rules to stress placement in English language, and you need to understand how these rules work. Another aspect is the different stress patterns. The different stress patterns. For instance, nouns take stress on first syllables. Verbs take stress on the second syllable. Okay? So once you understand most of these rules, you will know how to place stress differently. Under these aspects of different stress patterns, you're supposed to pick a particular option that illustrates a different stress from the rest of the options. The next one is rhymes. Rhymes. Yes, you would have about 2 to 3 questions on the rhymes in the UTME. 2 to 3 questions on the rhymes. So take a look at what I've given you so far. The starting point here is the reading comprehension, which is the one I'll be starting today. I will explain to you what reading comprehension, okay, comprises, after which we'll be able to take on an exercise to see how we're able to read and understand a passage and also to try a question on it. Next, you have to prepare adequately on Lexis and structure. And there are topics under Lexis and structure, which is synonyms, antonyms, interpretations, then best complete each of the following. Then we'll proceed to the English novel, which you were supposed to read. Okay, then the fourth part is the English oral. And here are the aspects in which you would come across a question. Let me mention a particular topic to you, okay, which is also important. It is known as the emphatic stress. The emphatic stress is a compulsory aspect. The emphatic stress is a compulsory aspect. So work on your vowel sounds, your consonant sounds, stress placement, and different stress patterns, rhymes, and emphatic stress. I hope this is clear to you. So join me while we begin with the first aspect, which is known as reading comprehension. I hope this is clear, class, and you're ready to start. So let's start with the topic, reading comprehension. Reading comprehension. Like I mentioned to you, you'll be having a minimum of 4 reading passages and a maximum of 5 reading passages. Now, each reading passage contains 5 questions. All right. Then most of these passages are called or adapted from a longer version of a reading passage. So what you're supposed to do is read and understand the passage very well and answer questions on them. Now, what is reading comprehension? Let me dictate that to you. This is the ability of the candidate. This is the ability of the candidate to read and understand the given passage. And understand the given passage. Now let me underline the key words here. The ability, the determination that it takes you to what? To read and also to understand the given passage, which means that you will definitely have a passage that you would have to read and ensure to understand this particular passage. Now, also take note, there are 5 questions for each reading passages. So you have 5 questions for each reading passages. So you would have a maximum of 5 questions for each reading passage. Now, join me. Let's look at this. What are the different question types that you would come across for the Jamb reading passages? What are the different question types? The first aspect is known as title question. Title question. Please don't forget this. The first aspect is title question. What exactly is title question? Now, on the title question, examiner expects you to pick a particular option that best describes the title of the passage. I hope you understand this. The question comes in this manner. Suggest a suitable title for this passage, or provide a suitable title for this passage. That's a title question. You're expected to provide a title question. Now, there's a logic. All right, there's a logic you need to learn regarding title question. Definitely, you know that the Jamb is structured in form of a multiple choice question, which is you would have a sentence after which you would have options. Option letter A, B, C, and D. For you to pick a suitable title for the passage, look out for a particular option that describes the content of the passage. Let me say this again. Look out for a particular option that describes the content of the passage. There will certainly be a particular option among the 4 options. There will be one particular option that describes exactly the content of the passage. That's how the question comes. So an example is this: provide a suitable title for the passage. This is an example. Provide a suitable title for the passage. And I just gave you a logic here that you're supposed to pick a particular option that best describes the content of the passage. That would help you. Now, I hope you understand what a title question is and how to attempt a title question. Let's proceed to the next question type. Let's proceed to the next question type. Aside from the title question, you may also be asked what is known as factual question. Expect factual question in your exam. What exactly is a factual question? Now, these are questions in which the answers are directly found in the passage, meaning that you can find the answer directly from the passage as a factual question. For instance, according to the writer, the woman decided to leave the community by dash. Then you would have option. It means that you're supposed to suggest, based on the writer's intention, why the woman left the community. All I'm trying to say in a nutshell is go to the passage, you will find a reason why the woman left the community, for instance. The answer is directly found in the passage. That is an example of a factual question. Some can ask you, according to the passage, so when you see a question in this manner, have it in mind that it's talking about factual question. Any question in which a reference is being made directly to the passage, they are regarded as factual questions. Invariably, factual questions demand that students understand the passage very, very well before they can provide a valid answer. I hope this is clear, class. Now let's proceed to number 3. Number 3, a very compulsory aspect of a question type is known as the inference question. The inference question. The short form for this is infer or deduce. To infer or to deduce. Okay? To infer or to deduce. What is an inference question? It means that examiner wants you to logically draw a meaning, to logically draw an explanation, to deduce a meaning outside what is stated in the passage. Inference question could come in form of a sentence, meaning you're given a particular sentence and you're asked to infer the meaning from that expression or statement that you're given. I'm going to give you a particular expression or a statement, and I would ask you to infer from it. This is as a result of showing you an example of an inference question. Inference question, okay, requires you to logically draw a meaning from a given expression. That is, you providing your own idea. And most words that you would come across in UTME comprehension passages are, it can be inferred from the passage that the man, can you see the structure of the question? Or we can deduce from the passage, which means we can draw a meaning. We can logically draw a meaning from the passage. And remember, for inference questions, the answer will not be directly stated in the passage. You as the student or as the candidate, you're meant to what? To draw out the meaning yourself. Now, let me give you an example of an inference question. For instance, you have, if I give you this, the sun is directly above their heads. This is in isolation, meaning it doesn't have anything to do with contextual usage. It's not used in context, in a passage. It's just an expression in isolation. So now I need you to deduce the meaning of this expression. Can you infer the meaning of this expression? Meaning, what I only need you to do is, can you tell me what you think this expression means? The sun is directly above their heads. What does that suggest to you? What logical meaning can you draw out from this particular expression? Now, the sun is directly above their heads can infer that it is noon. That can infer that it was that it is noon. That's what it will infer. Okay? By noon, we're basically talking about afternoon. I hope you know that. If the sun is directly above their heads, that can be inferred, or that can be suggested to mean that what? That it is actually noon. For the fact that the sun is directly above their heads, that's suggesting noon. If the moon is directly above their head, what do you think that will suggest? I hope you know that now. Okay? Now let's proceed to number 4. Now, for number 4, you would have vocabulary in context questions. Vocabulary in context question. Now, usually for vocabulary in context question, what you're supposed to do is learn as many words as possible. Build your vocabulary. Vocabulary refers to list of words with their meanings. For instance, you're supposed to learn one word in a day to develop your vocabulary. You should have a separate book that you could possibly call the word bank, meaning where you save a whole lot of words. Now, vocabulary development requires that the student provide another word, all right, which means the same as the given word. Remember that when you read the passage, you're most likely to come across a particular word that is underlined or emphasized in the passage. Now, such word will be given in form of a question. For instance, in the passage, the word happy means the same as dash. That's an example. Now, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to provide another word, okay, that means the same as happy, according to how happy is used in the passage. I'm trying to emphasize contextual meaning to you, which means how the word happy is used in the passage. It has nothing to do with dictionary meanings. That's why even when you go into the examination with a dictionary, you might still fail. Why? Because examiners do not require dictionary meaning. They need contextual meaning, which is what? How that particular word is used in the passage. That's what would give you your answer. I hope you understand this now. That's vocabulary in context question. Start building your vocabulary now. You will come across most of these questions that I'm talking about. Start building your vocabulary. Start developing it. Each day, ensure you learn one word. And how is that possible? There are electronic dictionaries